Hello CSE 102 class, this is WD08 Flyer. And I'll just show you really quick, this is the flyer we're going to be recreating, and I put a PDF file online so that you could download and open it up in Adobe Reader. You can also open up in Chrome as well, but I like to open up in Adobe Reader so I could zoom in and zoom out. But this is basically the flyer that we're going to recreate in Word. And it has just a couple sections, has a side stripe over here, this kind of blue graphic. We're going to put a photograph over top of it, and there's also a logo down here at the bottom, and I'm going to supply all that, and that's going to be in a zipped folder that you're going to download and use some of them. And then also the text is going to be in a Word file, and you're going to copy and paste the text to end up right here, and over here. Now it looks like kind of difficult to lay out. I have to make columns and all that. No, you don't. You're just, what we're going to do is just actually use text boxes and just fill up the text in text boxes and format it as close as we can to this sample here. And we'll try to make a nice looking flyer. There's also this little copy at the bottom. We don't need that little gray thing at the bottom. So this is what we're going to do, and we'll match this as best we can. I've already downloaded that part of it. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to go to Blackboard, and I'm going to download this zip folder, and I'm going to right click. I'm not just going to click on it. Whatever you do, don't just click on it. Please just do save link as and download it to wherever you keep your files, whether you do it at school or you do it at home. And I already have a folder here, a Word, and I have it in assignment, so I'm going to save it there. And be careful when you download things. You might say, well, I'm not seeing my files, and that's because I'm only seeing this type of file in the folder. There's other files there, I'm just not seeing them right now. So just because I know I have Word files here and other files, but I'm not seeing them. So just don't worry about that right now. I'm going to save that, so that downloaded. And don't even worry about doing this now. Go right to your file and take a look at it first, because it'll make life easier. I know you can just double click on this and it'll show you what's inside the folder, but what you need to do is you need to right click and you need to do extract all, because if you don't, when you go to insert photos, you're not going to see them. So make sure you do, when you have that zipped folder downloaded, you right click on it and do extract all. If you're on a Mac, you could just double click, but in Windows you need to do extract all. And then just hit extract. It'll just make a folder with the same name. And that should be it. And that's what you're going to see. You don't even need this Mac OS one. There's nothing in there. This is the folder you're going to use, this WD10 flyer folder. And inside there is going to be 3 images, and then there's, well, you don't even need this. This is DS Store. That's just from the Mac side. So there's 3 images, and then there's a Word file, and that's what you're going to use. There's the side stripe, the photo, the logo, and then the Word file. You can see this is the extracted folder. This is the zipped folder. You don't even need the zipped folder anymore. You can even delete that if it I could even right click on this and delete it, just so it doesn't confuse me anymore. Because now I have the actual extracted folder, and that may be easier to do that, but make sure you extract it. Okay, so inside of here, I'm going to go inside of here and into this flyer folder, and I'm going to open up the Word file. Now you're not going to format the Word file. You're only using this to copy and paste the text so that you don't have to type it. So I'm going to use this to copy and paste. This is the bulleted list here. This is the information at the top. This is the information, and all this here is on the left stripe. And this is the little information on the bottom. So this is all the text information. I put returns in between here so you could kind of tell them apart. And then you're going to make a new file. I'm going to go File, New, and I'm going to choose Blank Document. And there's my blank document. And just so you're aware, there's two. If you click on your Word icon down here in the taskbar, you'll see that you have the one with the text you're going to copy, and then you'll also see your blank document. This is your new document. So what I'm going to do with my new document, this is the one you're going to save with your last name and call it WD10 Flyer with your last name. First thing I'll do here is go to Page Layout and make sure that I change the margins to 0.5. I'll use narrow, 0.5 all around. And then I'll even save it. I'll do a Save As. And I'll make sure I save it in, I could save it in the same folder, or you could save it outside that folder. And I'm going to call it WD10. You could just call it Flyer. And then you could just put your last name initial. That's all you need. And what I'm going to do first is I'm going to just put in some elements in here to kind of work around. It'll be easier before I start putting in the text. So the first thing I'm going to do is go to Insert, and I'm going to insert a picture. So I'm going to go here to Pictures, Insert Pictures, and it comes up to Sample Pictures, but I'm going to have to go find that folder. And there's my Word folder, my assignments. I have to go find that flyer folder. And again, if you just double clicked on the folder, you may not see these things, so make sure you extract that. And I'm going to use side stripe to start. and I'll just do insert, and there's side stripe, and it should go in the right place. It should actually be perfect. But one thing you want to do, if you see this in Word 2013, click on here and make sure that you're doing in front of text, that you put this in front of text, because that way you'll be able to drag these things around. Okay, so that's the first thing I'm putting on there, and then you could close this up. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put that small picture right over top of it. So I'm also going to do insert, picture, and I'm going to take that side photo and insert it. Now if it's stuck behind here and you can't move it, what you can do is just click on this thing again, and for whatever reason, if you don't see this icon, if you don't see that icon, just go over here to text wrap, and you can also do this and just do in front of text, and then that way you'll be able to move it around. Now you can see this is a little bit smaller, and again I'll look at my sample. Here's my sample. You can see it's a little bit up that last little rainbow thing there. So I'll go back here, and to scale it, just grab it on the corner. Don't grab the sides, or you don't want to distort it. You want to grab on the corner and go in kind of a 45-degree angle. Like if you're going to make it larger, you would do that. You want to go in a 45-degree angle when you're scaling it. So I'm going to try to get it about the same width as that, and that looks okay. So I'm already done with that. And then down here, there's also going to be a logo down here at the bottom. And by the way, if you don't see your rulers, make sure that you go View and then turn on rulers. Make sure that's checked if you're not seeing rulers. Okay, and the next thing, I'm going to bring in my last one. And you know what, I could even do this first. Before I do that, I'm going to go back to Insert, and I'm going to go to Insert Shapes. And I'm just going to choose a rectangle. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a rectangle. And here's my rectangle. Okay, and I'm going to make sure that it has a fill of black. And then I could go over here. You see where the size is here? I'm going to take it down to about 0.25. And you could highlight that and put in 0.25. It's about a 1/4 inch high, and it should be about 7.5 wide. And you should be able to move it around. You should see these like little green bars when you move it around. They'll kind of snap to the edge. So I'm going to snap this right to the bottom of here. And that's just my black rectangle. Again, I went to Insert Pictures, and for this one I used Insert Shapes, and I just used a rectangle, and I drew a rectangle, and I just changed the fill. I don't think there's a stroke on here. If there is, you wouldn't even be able to see it anyway. So, all right, last image I'm going to bring in. I'm going to go Insert Pictures. I'm going to bring in my Mass Mutual logo, and I'll insert that. And you can see same thing happen there. You could go on here, or I could just go to Text Wrap and say in front of text. And then I could grab that logo. It's a PNG file, so it's transparent. So you can see things through it if you had to put it over top of a background or anything. I'm just going to drag it down here. And that's about where it's going to go. We're going to have some other text down here. So that's kind of started. That's our 3 images are in here, plus this rectangle. And just remember, when you have these things, make sure you click on here and do in front of text. That allows you to move them around. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to bring in our text boxes, because we're going to have a text box that goes over here. We have 2 over here and 1 little one at the bottom. And actually, before I take a break here, I'm going to bring in the little one at the bottom, and then I'll take a break and do another recording. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Insert. Again, when we're putting things on the page, we want to go to Insert, and I'm going to go to Insert Text Box. And I'll just use a simple text box over here to start. And there it is. And it puts a little kind of placeholder text in here. What I'm going to do with this is I'm going to bring it down. And these should be in front of text anyway. You should be able to drag these around. You shouldn't have any problem with these. These should float in the middle. Now, I'm going to bring this down to the bottom of the page, so it kind of snaps to the bottom of the page. And I'm just going to make it smaller, and then I'm going to drag it out so it goes all the way across. And again, I could look at my sample here. It's going to be this little tiny copy at the bottom. It's very small. So I'm going to go back to the document that I'm working on. Now, before I do anything, let me paste this in first. I'm going to just click on there, and then I'll be able to paste right over this. I'm going to go to my Word document, and I'll do my first copy paste. I'll go to the bottom. I'll copy this information that's here. And I don't need, just be careful, try not to take all those returns. You may have problems if you have those returns. I'm going to try to highlight this. So put on your formatting marks or your show hide button so you can see the returns. And I don't want that last return. So I'm just going to copy, and you could do edit copy, or you could just do Control C on Windows. And I'll go back to my other document by going down here. And this is already highlighted. and I'm just going to do Control V and I'll paste it. Now everything isn't fitting into that box, but that's okay. What I'm going to do is I'll put my cursor in here, I'll do Control A. That highlights everything, even the stuff you don't see, and I'm going to go to my Home tab and I'm going to make it Arial. We're going to try to use Arial because everybody has Arial, and I'm going to make it Arial 6 point. Now you might say, well, where's 6 point? Well, I'm going to make it 8 first, but then I'll highlight it and I'll type in 6. And that second line should go you know, a little more than halfway across. So that looks okay, except the problem we have so far now is this thing has a, if I scroll down, you can see it has a border and it even has like a margin and it's not going to the bottom of the box. Well, we could fix that all in one shot. Just make sure that you click on this, click on the edge so you get that quad arrow. If you're inside, it's not gonna work. You need to click on the edge so you get that quad arrow, and then just right click and go to Format Shape. And it'll open up this little side panel here, and it's not the easiest thing to follow, but a couple things we're going to do here. Under Shape Options, they have Fill and Line. I'm not going to mess with Fill, it just has a white fill, I'll leave that for now, but I'm going to choose No Line, and that's going to get rid of the border. And then I'm going to go over here to Text Options. Actually, I could click here and go to Text Box, or you could have done Text Options and then clicked on Text Box, same thing. But you want to go to text you want to use this one with text options, and you want to turn off all the margins down to 0. And we'll be doing this with all the boxes, so get used to doing this. And also, just for this one, I'm going to change my vertical alignment to bottom so that it kind of bumps to the bottom here. That way I know that it's at the ½ inch mark at the bottom of the page. It doesn't matter how high this goes, but I know that it's kind of bordering against the bottom. And that's all I need to do there, the bottom. So I took off the line, so I made it No Line, and I did that under Shape Options, Line, No Line, and then under Text Options, I turned the margins all to 0, and I made the vertical alignment bottom, and that's how I did the bottom part. So I only have a couple more things to do. I only have these two main areas here and this area on the side.